Imagine holding a manuscript so ancient its words have echoed through millennia. Written over 2,700 years ago, the book of Isaiah is filled with cryptic messages that have puzzled scholars for centuries. Some see it as poetic history, others as a blueprint for humanity's destiny. But what if Isaiah's words weren't just for his time, but for ours? Isaiah describes a world unraveling, leaders drunk on power, nations in turmoil, truth twisted into lies. He speaks of a society where people reject wisdom, choosing what feels right over what is right. Does that sound familiar? It should. But there's something deeper hidden within these verses, a pattern, a cycle, a warning. One of Isaiah's most shocking predictions was the downfall of his own nation, Israel. He foresaw their moral decline, their exile, and even their eventual return. History confirms it happened exactly as he said. But what's even more astounding, his prophecies didn't stop there. There's an eerie similarity between Isaiah's warnings and today's headlines. Corruption, deception, the erosion of truth, it's all there. The question is, was Isaiah simply a keen observer of human nature? Or was he divinely inspired to foresee events centuries in advance? And if so, what does that mean for us right now? Buried within his writings is a message of hope. Isaiah doesn't just predict chaos, he reveals a way to rise above it. He speaks of an inner strength, a divine connection that gives us the power to discern truth from deception, to stand firm when the world crumbles. But most people never look beyond the surface. What if the true meaning of Isaiah's words has been misunderstood for generations? What if his prophecies were never meant to simply warn but to prepare us? If so, then reading Isaiah isn't just about learning history, it's about unlocking a personal revelation. Are we ready to decode Isaiah's message? Or will we, like those before us, ignore the warning until it's too late? Isaiah is no ordinary book. It's a collection of astonishing predictions, some fulfilled in history, others unfolding today. One of its most famous prophecies, Isaiah 53, describes a suffering servant who would bear the sins of many. Written centuries before Jesus, many see it as a direct reference to him. But Isaiah's words don't just belong to the past, they reach into the future. Take Isaiah 17, which foretells the destruction of Damascus, one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited cities. While parts of Damascus have been destroyed over time, many scholars and theologians believe this prophecy points to a yet-to-come catastrophic event. In a world where geopolitical tensions rise daily, could this be something we will witness in our lifetime? Isaiah also speaks of the return of the Jewish people to their homeland, an event that seemed impossible for centuries. Yet, in 1948, Israel became a nation again, just as Isaiah 11:11 foretold. This alone is enough to make us pause. How could an ancient text predict something so specific, thousands of years in advance? But here's where things get even more intense. Isaiah 66:8 asks, "Can a nation be born in a day?" A rhetorical question at the time. Yet on May 14, 1948, Israel was declared a nation, fulfilling this prophecy almost word for word. Coincidence? Or a divine roadmap guiding history? Now, consider the warnings of Isaiah 24, which describe global upheaval, earthquakes, environmental devastation, and societal collapse. These verses sound eerily similar to what we see today: increasing natural disasters, wars, and moral decline. Are we living in the very times Isaiah foresaw? This is why Isaiah's words demand attention. They are not just dusty passages from an ancient scroll. They are messages that echo into our reality. Whether you believe in divine prophecy or not, Isaiah's predictions have an undeniable track record. Could it be that his words hold a key to understanding where we are headed? If history has proven him right before, should we be paying closer attention now? What if Isaiah was warning us about events still to come? Isaiah wasn't just a prophet of the past. His words echo today's headlines. He painted a vivid picture of a society losing its way, where corruption, injustice, and moral decay led to downfall. Sound familiar? In Isaiah 5:20, he warns, Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness. This verse alone could be a commentary on modern times. Today, truth is often blurred, and what was once considered immoral is now praised. Isaiah foresaw a world where deception reigns and moral boundaries are constantly shifting. Could this prophecy be describing our very own era? Isaiah also speaks of leaders who mislead their people. In Isaiah 3:12, he declares, "My people, your leaders mislead you. They confuse the course of your paths." Trust in leadership and institutions is at an all-time low. Scandals, corruption, and deception dominate the news cycle. What happens when societies can no longer trust their leaders? According to Isaiah, it leads to judgment and collapse. The book of Isaiah is filled with warnings about the consequences of turning away from righteousness. In Isaiah 24, he describes a world in chaos, environmental disasters, wars, and economic turmoil. He speaks of the earth being utterly broken down, an image that seems to align with today's climate crises, conflicts, and societal divisions. But Isaiah doesn't just leave us with warnings. He offers hope. Even in the darkest times, he speaks of restoration. Isaiah 41:10 declares, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God." No matter how chaotic the world becomes, Isaiah's message is clear. There is a path forward, but it requires returning to what is true and just. Could Isaiah's ancient words be the key to navigating today's world? If history has already proven his prophecies accurate, what else might he have foreseen? What if, instead of ignoring these warnings, we use them as a guide to make better choices, both as individuals and as a society? Is Isaiah's warning a reflection of our world today, or a call to change? Isaiah's prophecies about the Messiah are among his most profound. Over 700 years before Christ, he described a suffering servant who would bear humanity's sins, bringing redemption to a world in darkness. Isaiah 53, in particular, offers a blueprint for Jesus' arrival, proof of divine orchestration in history. Isaiah 7:14 foretells, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel." This prophecy aligns with the birth of Jesus, reinforcing the belief that Isaiah's words were not just poetic imagery, but a literal glimpse into the future. The concept of Emmanuel, meaning God with us, encapsulates the core of Christian faith, God becoming flesh to dwell among his people. Another striking prophecy appears in Isaiah 9:6-7. "For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders. And he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." These words point directly to Jesus, whose life and teachings fulfilled the role of a divine ruler bringing spiritual peace to the world. But Isaiah's most remarkable and controversial prophecy lies in Isaiah 53, a chapter so detailed in its depiction of the suffering servant that it reads like an eyewitness account of Jesus' crucifixion. It speaks of one who would be despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. He would be pierced for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities, and by his wounds we are healed. The parallels between Isaiah's description and the events of the New Testament are undeniable. Even today, scholars and theologians debate the significance of these passages. How could Isaiah have described the Messiah's suffering so accurately, unless it was revealed to him by divine inspiration? And if these prophecies have already come to pass, what does that mean for those that have yet to be fulfilled? Isaiah's message of hope continues to resonate. In a world filled with uncertainty, his writings remind us that redemption is possible and that there is a greater plan at work. Whether one views these passages through the lens of faith or historical curiosity, the prophetic power of Isaiah's words is undeniable. What does this prophecy mean for us today? Isaiah wasn't just a prophet for Israel. He warned great nations of their downfall, caused by corruption, arrogance, and idolatry. His prophecies laid bare the rise and fall of empires, offering cautionary tales for the future. The striking part? These warnings still resonate today, challenging modern nations and societies. In Isaiah 13-23, he speaks of Babylon, Assyria, Moab, Damascus, Egypt, and other powerful entities, foretelling their destruction due to their defiance of divine law. Babylon, for instance, was described as a mighty empire that would be reduced to ruins. Babylon, the jewel of kingdoms, the pride and glory of the Babylonians, will be overthrown by God like Sodom and Gomorrah. Isaiah 13:19. History confirms that Babylon, once the most magnificent city in the ancient world, fell just as Isaiah predicted. But is this merely an ancient story, or does it serve as a warning for today's world powers? Many scholars believe Isaiah's prophecies are cyclical, meaning the same principles apply repeatedly throughout history. Nations that embrace corruption, injustice, and moral decay eventually crumble under the weight of their own actions. Consider the modern landscape. Powerful countries teetering on the edge of economic collapse, social unrest, and political division. Isaiah's warnings echo loudly. Woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees. Isaiah 10:1. Could this apply to governments today? Are we witnessing the same patterns that led to the downfall of past empires? Isaiah also addressed the dangers of false security. Many nations trusted in their military might or economic strength, but Isaiah reminded them that true security comes from righteousness. The Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king. It is he who will save us. Isaiah 33:22. These messages are more than ancient warnings. They are a mirror reflecting today's reality. If nations continue to prioritize greed, oppression, and moral decay over justice and righteousness, will they too face a similar fate? Isaiah's voice calls out across time. Will we listen? While Isaiah's early prophecies focused on his time, his later chapters reveal a distant future of judgment, restoration, and divine intervention. Are we living in the days he foresaw? Isaiah 66:8 asks, "Can a nation be born in a day?" Many see this as a direct reference to Israel's rebirth in 1948. Isaiah also speaks of a future age of peace, where the wolf will live with the lamb, Isaiah 11:6, and nations will beat their swords into plowshares, Isaiah 2:4. These verses describe a world transformed, a new era of harmony, justice, and divine governance. But before this can happen, Isaiah warns of great tribulation, a period of upheaval and judgment. Isaiah 24 paints a chilling picture of global catastrophe. The earth is defiled by its people. They have disobeyed the laws, violated the statutes, and broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore, a curse consumes the earth. Many see these words as aligning with current crises, environmental disasters, moral decline, and geopolitical instability. The most crucial question remains: are we witnessing the fulfillment of Isaiah's final prophecies? If so, what comes next? Will humanity heed the warnings and turn back to righteousness, or are we heading toward inevitable reckoning? Isaiah's vision extends beyond doom. He also offers hope. In Isaiah 40:31, he declares, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." This promise serves as a beacon for those seeking faith amidst chaos. Isaiah's final message is clear. The future is in our hands. Whether we embrace righteousness or continue down a destructive path will determine what unfolds next. The choice, as always, is ours. Isaiah's words are not relics of the past. They are alive. They pulse through history, whispering warnings and revealing truths that seem more relevant than ever. We have journeyed through his prophecies, seeing how his visions of destruction and redemption shaped nations, leaders, and even our world today. But now the real question is not about what Isaiah said, it's about what you will do with this knowledge. Are these just ancient texts, or do they hold hidden messages for our time? Are we seeing history repeat itself? The answer is not simple, nor should it be. The truth is not something to be passively received, it is something to be discovered. something to be wrestled with deep within your own heart and mind. Isaiah called people to awaken, to open their eyes, to recognize patterns, to discern between deception and truth. But are we truly awake? Or are we blindly walking through life, ignoring the signs, accepting whatever is presented to us without question? This is not about fear. This is about clarity. It's about stepping into a higher awareness, where you are no longer just an observer, but an active participant in the unfolding story of history. Isaiah's warnings were not meant to paralyze people with dread. They were meant to empower them, to give them the knowledge and wisdom to choose a better path. And now, I ask you, what do you see? What do you believe? Let this not be the end of the journey, but the beginning. Let this video ignite something within you, a fire to seek, to question, to discern. Because truth is not meant to be accepted blindly. It is meant to be tested, to be understood at the deepest level. If this message has resonated with you, if you feel the weight of Isaiah's words echoing in our time, then I invite you to take action. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and be part of this journey. This is just the beginning. There is so much more to uncover, so many more stories, mysteries, and lessons waiting to be explored. You are here for a reason. Perhaps it is time to start looking beyond the surface, to step into a greater understanding, to ask the questions that truly matter.